is subject to man on account of the weakness of her nature. Man is the beginning of a woman and her end. Just as God is the beginning and end of every creature, children ought to love their father more than they love their mother. Referring to Apostle Act, women are considered as spiritual creatures with the same moral perfection faculties than the men, but they are by essence inferior to and subject to men, and thus excluded from the priesthood. Women are at the same time angels or demons. Women inspire the most noble virtues. She is considered as an angel because Eva represents misfortune, but at the same time life. Die by Eve, live by Mary, l'inaccessible Marie. Les vierges recueilleront au centuple le fruit de leur mérite, les veuves 60 fois, les épouses 30. Pour que la femme soit à l'origine d'un si grand mal, il faut pour prendre l'espérance qu'elle soit à l'origine d'un si grand bien. Louer la Vierge Marie n'est nullement rendre hommage à Ève, et Marie, refuge du pécheur, l'espoir des hommes.
Demon. Une honnête femme est aussi rare qu'un signe noir, selon la formule du Jean de Meule, du roman de l'Arbois. Les invectives, flammes voraces, folie extrême, nées pour tromper, prédateurs des hommes, bauges des gras pourceaux, tigresse impure, vipère furieuse. Ève, la tentatrice, la porte du diable, racine du mal, rejetons de tous les vices. Comment pouvons-nous embrasser ce sac de fientes? Let's now talk about the marriage of the noble woman from the Middle Ages. Courtly love was contrary to the practicalities of medieval marriage. Noble marriage had nothing to do with love. They were merely arranged by the parents, sometimes to buy peace with other lands or to conclude pacts as if girls were pieces of money. It happened that the husband was chosen at the birth of the baby. The only way to escape was to turn to religion. The age of consent was 12 years old for girls and 14 for boys, and a bride was habitually a lot younger than her husband. Marriage was to women the passage of the father's control to the husband one, because women were considered as properties. Marriage was during 9 days, and after the bride had to leave her husband's land. After marriage, the noble woman's main duty was to provide children, especially male babies, to ensure succession to the lord. Large families were the habit of the children, for the children mortality rate was so high during the Middle Ages. A family was expected to lose at least one child. The noble married woman had to be submissive, obedient, and scrupulously faithful to her husband. The noble women were running the household and the servants. She was also allowed to rule the Lord's field when he was absent. This means that she was given the power to take military decisions, run justice, in fact, the all power of her Lord. There was nobody allowed to stop her. Queens were having more powers because they were influencing the kings. Most of them created monasteries and churches on the field. They were also allowed to inherit from their father and to rule the land when her husband was dead and the children too young. The highest lands a woman was possessing, the most powerful she was considered, such as Eleanor d'Aquitaine. Women education was concentrated on practical and non-academic scholarship. At the age of 7, young noble girls were being sent to another noble house to learn manners and etiquette, and also how to mix with the greatest noble in the land. They were also taught how to write and to dance, and some of them had also the chance to learn how to write and to play a music instrument. She was prepared to be a good and useful wife to her future husband. These young girls were also expected to act as servants for the older ladies of the castle. The duties of these young noble women were to assist ladies with their dressing and coiffure. The high-ranking English were acting as ladies-in-waiting and were taught French as a second language. They were also taught the principle of the medieval code of chivalry and courtly love. Here are some ethics coming from the Middle Ages about the noble woman. A make-up woman goes straight to hell, versus an unfaithful woman only goes to purgatory. In their castle, they had a kind of jealousy. Some well-protected would marry women. Do not, and so these are some rules. Do not laugh in public nor talking to anybody. Do not cover yourself with lace if you're ugly. Always look straight in front of you while walking. Be always accompanied by a prude woman to go to church. Your head right. The medieval mannerisms arrived to her sex before her rank. Épouse de puissant, épouse de Jésus, épouse de vilain. Wife of noble, of Jesus, or of some peasant. Noble woman wears also colorful clothes.
Joan of Arc was a 15th century heroine of France. When she was little, she started to have visions. She even said that saints came to her and said that she must protect her country. Joan of Arc is famous for her leadership and for the fact that she never gave up for anything that she stood for. Unfortunately, a woman with such a great aspiration was not well seen by society in that time, especially by men. Because of jealousy, or whatever you want to call it, she was executed for heresy when she was only 19 years old. The judgment was broken by the Pope, and she was declared innocent and a martyr 24 years later. She was beatified in 1909 and canonized as a saint in 1920. Actually, she was born in 1412 and died burned in 1431. Joan of Arc should be an inspiration for all women of all ages.
Talk about Eleanor of Aquitaine, who was Queen of France, Queen of England, Duchess of Aquitaine and Gascony, Countess of Poitou. Her mother's name was Dangereuse, who was having a relation with William IX of Aquitaine, as well as her own mother. She is born in her utmost culture at court of her time, the birthplace of courtly law. She was extroverted, very intelligent and strong-willed. She was speaking Latin and was considered as one of the great beauty of her time. She inherited Aquitaine, which was the most powerful and rich domain of the land, at the age of 15, and this made her the most coveted woman of her time. During the same year, she also became Queen Consort of France when she got married with Louis VII. She wasn't beloved at the court for she was considered as a libertine. She participated in the Third Crusade and was accused of having an extraconjugal relation with her uncle, de Poitiers. After this, she repudiated her husband, which was something absolutely rare. Then came back to Poitou and 6 weeks later get married to King Henry II. She had 2 daughters with her first husband, and then 5 sons and 3 daughters with her second husband, who had many bastards. She gave birth to famous Marie de Champagne and Richard Lionheart. She came back to Aquitaine for some time to encourage a cult of courtly love at her court in absence of her husband. She is considered as one of the founders of it. Exceeded by Henry's infidelities, she helped her eldest son Henry the Young preparing a rebellion against the king by sending her other sons to him in France, and they had the help of her ex-husband Louis VII, Guillaume I of Scotia, and many high barons. It was a total flop. Eleanor was imprisoned for the next 15 years in many castles all over England. While dying, her eldest son begged his father to forgive his mother, and the queen was re-established. After the king died, and Richard, her son, inherited the throne. While he went off during the Third Crusade, Eleanor ruled as a regent for her son during 6 years. She personally negotiated his ransom, but he sadly died much later. Her last son became king because she traveled all among France to rally and since the other courts, there was a lot of political problems. At the age of 77 years old, she was Queen Consort of both France.
History shows us that women have kind of always been the same: romantic, strong, resistant, great for their neighbor, etc. They may be angels or demons, and also have always been seen as mother taking care of the household. To know that they had more rights and freedom is pretty interesting, and maybe to look more about women in their religion during this time would be a good quest.